Hey everyone. So I'm sure if you've been paying attention to the AI space, you've seen things like GPT-o3 getting released, things like DeepSeek. Well, right here, good timing. OpenAI just declared war on DeepSeek apparently, and things like Gemini Flash, which is a very recent release actually. So you wonder how can you integrate these things into your coding workflow? And an answer is, oh, you can go back and forth between your integrated development environment, and you can open a ChatGPT tab and say you want to figure out how to print hello world, very complicated. How do I print hello world, blah, blah, blah. Too much work. Long story short, it's too much work going back and forth between your LLM tab and your integrated development environment. Too much work. So there's an easier way to do it. So things like Cursor exist where it has the chat interface directly in your IDE. It's great. And you can make autocompletes to code, like you can accept changes and it automatically applies the code. It's great. So that's something that I wanted to make. And it was going to be web-based, so I started with a web-based IDE. It's fully open source called Judge Zero, and it can compile code, run it with input, do all sorts of great things. So I started with that as kind of like my baseline, and this is it right here. So you have your code over here, you have like a set of input, and then you have what your output is if you were to run the code. And this is kind of the area of interest down here, the AI system. So instead of having to, so this is C++. I don't really know C++ that well. So instead of having to open up a ChatGPT tab, um, copy paste the code, ask it what it does, I can just go straight down here and ask what does the code do? And it has the context already. I don't need to paste anything in. I don't need to do any of that. It automatically spits it out, says it's an implementation of the well-known Dijkstra's algorithm. And yeah, I didn't have to do anything, any pasting, any of that. And the other thing that I really like is the autocomplete. So I personally, like I said, don't know C++, so I can say change it to Python. So I'll tell it to do that. I'll send it. And there it is right over there. It even changed the compiler that I selected. I can run the code. And 12.5 no was, I should have ran it before with the C++ compiler. This would have been the same output. It changes everything very nicely. Let's see if I get rate limited here. So say I wanted to tell it to add comments to the code. It's a little shorter, so I shouldn't get rate limited. There we go. So it adds all the comments to the code, everything necessary to it, um, right there like that. Very quick, very helpful. So another thing that I really wanted to do is adding autocomplete. So I'll clear this quickly. Say I type in def main. As you can see, it highlights or sort of suggests code to implement. So if I just really quickly press tab, it prints hello, or it fills it in with print hello world. And that's kind of something that I wanted to do. So if I go back here and I tell it to change it to Python, let's just get started with that. It'll do it nicely. So if I open the console, haven't done it or fully implemented it yet. So as you can see down here in the console, it has the current line content. So if I just type print, it should down there, boom. So line 3 appears incomplete. So it was just a print statement, which is empty and incomplete. So then it gives an autocomplete suggestion, which would be print hello world. So there's the full auto-completed suggestion that it prints to the console. Maybe if I see what happens if I type def. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so there. So it's auto-completes and gives a suggestion for greeting the user. So I plan on integrating that. It shouldn't be that hard to just have it highlight the suggestion or the suggested change, and pressing tab will just automatically populate it with whatever the auto-completed suggestion is. So yeah, all of these done in the name of making coding a little more accessible, a little more efficient. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day.